Amir Al-Mansur was a young boy in Isfahan, Iran. He dreamed of a bigger world beyond the familiar alleys and bazaars. Despite their modest means, Amir's parents nurtured his thirst for knowledge, filling their home with books and stories of great leaders. The Al-Mansur family arrived in Frankfurt, Germany, a stark contrast to Isfahan. For young Amir, it was both exhilarating and daunting. The language barrier seemed insurmountable and he missed his home. He encountered prejudice and discrimination but refused to be defined by these experiences. His father's work ethic and his mother's quiet strength inspired him to persevere. Amir's determination to succeed burned brightly. He immersed himself in his studies, excelling in his classes and mastering German. Despite his achievements, he never forgot the challenges he faced as an immigrant. He felt empathy for other immigrant families and vowed to use his voice to make a difference. He dreamed of a world where everyone had the opportunity to succeed. Amir's passion for social justice led him to student government and the debate team. He found his voice and discovered his ability to inspire others. Elected to the Student Council, he became a vocal advocate for immigrant rights. He organized rallies and protests, challenging the status quo. His unwavering belief in equality fueled his determination to fight for a better future. Amir's reputation as a leader extended beyond his school. He joined a progressive political party and quickly rose through the ranks. His intelligence and charisma drew people to his vision for a more inclusive society. Upon graduating with honors, Amir faced a crossroads. He decided to take a leap of faith and announced his candidacy for Frankfurt's City Council. His campaign was a grassroots movement fueled by the energy of young people. Amir connected with people on a personal level, promising to be their champion. Election night arrived, and Amir won by a landslide. He was the youngest councilman in Frankfurt's history, a testament to his hard work and a message of unity. Determined to make a tangible difference, he focused on education, affordable housing, and social justice. Known for his tireless work ethic, Amir truly made his mark. Amir quickly earned a reputation as a rising star in German politics. He believed he could make an even greater impact on a national stage. He continued to champion the rights of immigrants and minorities. His message resonated with many Germans tired of divisive rhetoric. They saw in Amir a leader who represented the best of their country. As Amir's popularity grew, so did the opposition. Far-right groups viewed his success with suspicion and fear. They spread rumors and misinformation, questioning his loyalty. Amir anticipated resistance, but refused to be intimidated. He continued to speak out against hate and intolerance, calling for unity. Amir set his sights on the Bundestag, Germany's federal parliament. His campaign was a whirlwind of rallies, speeches, and interviews. He spoke passionately about social justice and a more inclusive society. His message struck a chord with many Germans, particularly young people. They saw in Amir a leader who represented a brighter future for Germany. Amir won a seat in the Bundestag, becoming one of the first immigrants to achieve such a feat. He was offered a ministerial position, a testament to his rapid ascent in German politics. Amir accepted the position with determination, eager to fight for equality and justice. He tackled complex issues with intelligence and energy. He quickly earned a reputation as a capable and compassionate leader. As Amir's influence grew, so did the backlash. Far-right groups accused him of being a dangerous radical. Amir refused to be intimidated by the rising tide of hate. He continued to speak out against extremism, calling for unity. He represented a changing Germany, a more diverse and inclusive society. Far-right factions saw Amir as a threat to their vision of German identity. Social media became a breeding ground for their hate. Fake news articles portrayed Amir as a puppet master. The seeds of discord began to sprout, escalating into threats and vandalism. A palpable tension gripped the nation, a sense of unease that something sinister was brewing. The fragile peace in Germany shattered. Riots erupted, fueled by hate-mongering propaganda. Mobs targeted anyone who didn't fit their narrow definition of German. The violence escalated, spreading to major cities. The message was clear: you are not welcome here. Section 3. Frankfurt in flames. The city of Frankfurt, once a beacon of multiculturalism and progress, now found itself engulfed in the flames of hatred. The very streets that had witnessed Amir's rise, where he had spoken of unity and hope, were now stained with fear and violence. The rioters, their faces contorted in masks of rage, roamed the streets, their chants of Deutschland den Deutschen, Germany for the Germans, echoing through the once peaceful neighborhoods. They targeted immigrant communities with particular ferocity, their actions fueled by a toxic cocktail of xenophobia, racism, and a misplaced sense of national identity. Families huddled in fear inside their homes, listening to the sounds of shattering glass and the roar of the mob outside. The police, overwhelmed and seemingly outmatched, struggled to maintain order, their presence offering little comfort to those caught in the crossfire. The city that had once embraced Amir as its own, that had celebrated his achievements and supported his vision, now seemed to have turned against him, its streets transformed into battlegrounds where hate and fear reigned supreme. Section 4. A nation divided. As the violence spread, a sense of disbelief and horror washed over Germany. The country watched in shock and dismay as the very foundations of its democracy seemed to crumble before their eyes. The riots had exposed deep-seated divisions within German society, fissures that had been hidden beneath the surface of normalcy for too long. The government, caught off guard by the speed and ferocity of the unrest, struggled to formulate a coherent response. Some called for swift and decisive action, demanding that the full force of the law be brought down upon the perpetrators. Others urged restraint, fearing that a heavy-handed approach would only exacerbate the situation. The country found itself at a crossroads, facing a crisis that threatened to tear it apart. The ideals of tolerance, inclusivity, and respect for diversity, values that Germany had painstakingly rebuilt itself upon after the horrors of its past, were now hanging by a thread. The question on everyone's mind was, could Germany overcome this moment of darkness, or would it succumb to the forces of hatred and division that threatened to consume it from within? The weight of the nation's fear and anger settled on Amir's shoulders. The news from Frankfurt, his city, his home, cut him deeply. The vibrant tapestry of cultures he cherished was being torn apart by hatred. He knew he had to act, to be a beacon in the storm. Addressing the nation, his voice resonated with determination. He spoke not as a politician, but as a fellow German, echoing the pain and fear gripping the country. He acknowledged the anger, but urged his fellow citizens to reject hatred. "We cannot allow fear to dictate our actions," he implored. "We cannot let the actions of a few define who we are." He reminded them of Germany's strength, its resilience, its compassion. He spoke of unity, understanding, and respect for human dignity. His words, delivered with heartfelt sincerity, cut through the noise. Here was a leader, confronting darkness, offering hope. He called for calm, for dialogue, for reason. He reminded them they were stronger together, united by bonds greater than forces seeking to tear them apart. Beyond the impassioned speeches, Amir knew action was needed. Working tirelessly with law enforcement, he ensured a measured yet firm response to the violence. Rioters were apprehended, not met with brutality, but with the firm hand of justice. He understood that true peace wouldn't come from force alone, but from healing the wounds that fueled the anger. He traveled to Frankfurt, his presence a symbol of solidarity with those terrorized by the unrest. He walked through the ravaged streets, meeting with families who had lost their businesses, their homes, their sense of security. He listened to their stories, their voices choked with fear and anger, offering words of comfort and support. He spearheaded efforts to rebuild the damaged communities, securing funds to help businesses get back on their feet and providing counseling services for those traumatized by the violence. He understood that true healing would take time, patience, and a commitment to addressing the underlying issues that had allowed hatred to flourish. Working with religious leaders and community organizers, he fostered dialogue between different cultural groups. He organized peace rallies, bringing together Germans from all walks of life, creating spaces where fear and suspicion could be replaced with understanding and empathy. Amir recognized that the riots were not just isolated incidents, but symptoms of a deeper malaise within German society. He saw a nation struggling to reconcile its past with its present, to find a place for the new and unfamiliar within its traditional identity. He knew that true healing required more than just restoring order. It demanded a national conversation. He challenged the government to address the root causes of social division. He called for increased funding for integration programs and education initiatives to combat prejudice. He wasn't afraid to have difficult conversations, to acknowledge the anxieties fueling xenophobia. He understood that true progress required a transformation of hearts and minds. His efforts ignited a national debate about immigration and integration. He spoke of a Germany enriched by diversity, strengthened by its multicultural heritage. The weeks that followed the riots were a time of deep introspection for Germany. The images of violence and destruction served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of hatred and division. Yet, amidst the ashes of unrest, a glimmer of hope emerged. Amir's unwavering commitment to unity and his tireless efforts to bridge the divides within German society did not go unnoticed. His leadership, forged in the crucible of adversity, resonated with a growing number of Germans who yearned for a return to reason and compassion. Slowly but surely the tide began to turn. Peaceful demonstrations organized by students, religious groups and ordinary citizens replaced the scenes of violence that had gripped the nation. People from all walks of life took to the streets not to sow division, but to express their shared humanity and their rejection of hatred in all its forms. The government, spurred by the outpouring of public sentiment and Amir's tireless advocacy, began to implement meaningful policy changes. New initiatives focused on promoting integration, combating discrimination, and fostering intercultural dialogue were launched. Educational programs aimed at countering prejudice and promoting tolerance were introduced in schools across the country. Years later, as the scars of the riots began to fade, Germany stood as a testament to the transformative power of unity and hope. Amir Al-Mansur, the young immigrant boy who had dared to dream of a better future, had played a pivotal role in guiding his adopted country through one of its darkest hours. His journey from the bustling streets of Isfahan to the halls of power in Berlin was an inspiration to millions. He had shown that it was possible to overcome adversity, to challenge the status quo, and to build bridges of understanding in a world often defined by division. His legacy extended far beyond the policy changes he had championed. He had helped to shift the national conversation, to expand the very definition of what it meant to be German. He had shown that diversity was a strength, not a weakness, and that a society enriched by different cultures, perspectives and experiences was a society better equipped to face the challenges of the 21st century. His story was a beacon of hope, not just for immigrants and minorities, but for anyone who dared to dream of a more just, equitable and compassionate world. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, hope has the power to illuminate the path towards a brighter future.